Welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka. What a topsy-turvy day it turned out to be. We started with a gap down, then we saw a good recovery. In fact, we saw the Nifty reclaiming that 24,900 level as well. But then soon after, it fizzled out. So what we had was a day, full of troughs and crests, and of course towards the end of the session we managed to pair we managed to make an attempt at a recovery once again, and what happened in the end is a close above 24,800. so just about a 40-point cut if you compare it with yesterday, so not a bad close. Given the fact that we were working with 24,700 as a key support level on the downside, but the crucial support of 24,800 holds, and that's something one should take heart from. But lots to watch out for, in terms of global cues. Last night we saw an over 4% surge on crude prices, topped $77 once again, which of course soured risk sentiment further. But right now, as we speak, Brent has eased slightly. In fact, it is sub $76. I think, which is why we are seeing US futures also trading in the green. European markets were also in the green, and even Asia, Japanese market, Korean markets managed to end the day in the green, although Shanghai and Hang Seng ended the day in the red. So all in all, there is a fair bit of caution as the conflict between Israel and Iran has entered the 6th day. Both the nations continue to trade missiles. With Iran in fact saying that the war has just begun. But on the other side, you also have Trump's comments to digest really, because he has demanded surrender from Iran, and he is weighing in his options as well. In fact, last night he had tweeted saying unconditional surrender. That's what he wants from the Iranian top leader. He is weighing in potential US military strike on Iran. He has already met with national security team to discuss the conflict. In fact, US has also been said to move fighter jets to the Middle East. So, what Trump decides, what kind of action US takes, that's something that we are watching out for. But another thing to watch out for would be the US Fed rate decision. Second day of the FOMC meet today. Tonight is when the decision comes out, 11:30 p.m. India time. Expectations are that the US Fed chairperson will hold fire when it comes to interest rates, but it's the forward guidance that the market will really be watching out for. Earlier when they came out with the dot plot, the Fed had said or indicated that they will cut rates twice this year in 2025. But will there be any change to that, given the fact that there is a lot of pressure from the US president on Powell to cut rates by 100 basis points? Of course, whether or not any commentary will come in from Powell on that front or not, and that's also something that the street will be watching out for. But in terms of our market, on the headline indices, we did manage to defend 24,800. For the Sensex as well, it was just about a 140-point cut, but cuts were slightly deeper when it comes to the broader end of the markets. The Nifty mid-cap index ended lower by 0.5%, small cap index also lower by 0.2% or thereabouts, but the breadth of the market fairly weak. 1:2, that's the NSE advanced decline ratio. 880 stocks advancing to 1745 stocks declining. At one point, 1 hour or 1.5 hours into trade, we had a very sharp reversal in the market breadth, wherein we had the NSE advanced decline ratio at 2:1, but that kind of turned as we progressed through the day. But all in all, it was a ranged or range bound day, as you will. Same thing happened yesterday as well. There is a fair bit of nervousness. Investors are wary. They are looking at how the Middle East situation is unfolding, and added to that, we have the Fed rate decision that will be out today. So, in terms of sectors, must point out that banks made a good attempt at recovery. In fact, managed to end the day in the green. And of course, support was provided by the likes of IndusInd Bank. That stock was up 5% on the back of an upgrade by Nomura. That stock in focus. In terms of auto, autos were down when we kick-started trade today, but there are reports that when it comes to rare earth magnets, of course we are looking at alternative sources, given the fact that China has put curbs on rare earth exports, right? So we are looking for alternate sources, and reports suggest that Australia could be one of them, which is why we saw a very sharp recovery on the auto pack at the start of the day around 10 a.m. or so, and the index in fact managed to end the day in the green, off highs, but managed to end the day in the green. Was the top sectoral gainer. IT deserves mention, snapped a 3-day gaining streak. In fact, recession fears in the US may be one of the reasons why IT also came under selling pressure. US retail sales data came in below expectations, and that has once again given rise to fears of recession in the US. So yes, that index also under pressure today. In terms of gainers on the index, you had IndusInd Bank, as I mentioned. Nomura upgrade stock was up 5%, that too in a weak market. Some consumption names did well. So you had the likes of Trent, Titan doing well. Even DMart, though not on the index, did well. They have opened a store in UP. And on the back of that, the stock was up and about 4% or thereabouts for DMart as well today. Titan, Maruti, M&M, some of the other two-wheeler names were also doing well today. On the flip side, TCS was the big laggard on the index. Adani, Ports, JSW Steel, HUL, bucking the trend. If you compare it with other consumption names, Adani Enterprises was another one that was under pressure. From the broad end of the markets, Reliance Power back in gaining mode. You had Vedanta Fashions, RBL Bank, and DMart, as I mentioned, on the back of a store opening in UP. That stock was up. On the flip side, Hindustan Zinc, second straight day of steep losses on the stock. In fact, it has shed over 10% in the matter of 2 days. Happiest Minds under pressure, MMTC and Max Health. These were some of the laggards from the broader end of the markets. But let's see if we have our guest ready or not. Jay Thakkar, Head Derivatives and Quant Research, ICICI Securities, joining in this afternoon. Jay, if you can hear my voice, hope you're doing well. Okay, we are waiting for Jay to join in, but let's talk about some of the other stocks then that were making headlines today. BSE is one stock that was under pressure today, although it did come off its lows. Of course, the weekly expiry day shifts from Tuesday to Thursday, and NSE will be having its weekly expiry on Tuesday. So that approval came post market hours yesterday. BSE is expected to see some loss in market share, volumes, etc., and that could impact its earnings as well. But the good part is that whatever pain BSE sees, street believes or brokerages believe that it would be short term in nature, and over the long term things aren't looking all that bad, and the story remains intact. So let's see what the brokerages really have to say about BSE. Jefferies has a hold rating, target price is at 2,900 rupees. They do say that near term volumes may drop by 5 to 10% as a result of shift in expiry day, but recovery is expected over time. Now, long term contract liquidity and common contract note, which allows investors to trade both in cash market and F&O market, that would be something that would aid cash market share going forward. However, they have lowered their EPS estimates by 1 to 2%. On the other hand, you have Motilal Oswal. They have downgraded the stock to neutral from buy. The target price is at 2,300 rupees per share, vis-a-vis 2,533 earlier. That suggests a 14% downside from yesterday's close price. In terms of some of the other movers, then taking a look at IndusInd Bank, that stock, as I mentioned, was among the top gainers. 5% up move, which obviously lends support to the Nifty Bank index as well, that managed to end in the green, although shares like ICICI Bank, etc., were in the red last time I checked. Yes, ICICI Bank was in the red. You had Axis Bank also in the red, so Kotak Mahindra Bank also in the red. So although private banking names were under pressure, but IndusInd Bank managed to see a 5% gain in a weak market, and that too because Nomura has upgraded the stock to buy. Target price has been revised to 1,050 rupees from 700 rupees per share. That implies, that means that the target has been upped by almost 50%. Now, Nomura is saying that the legacy issues have been resolved, and return on asset may reach 1% by FY27, and they believe that valuations at 0.9 times 1 year forward book value per share is looking attractive at the current juncture. they've noted the fact that the board is committed to better governance and leadership change, and they are aiming to reset in FY26. Also the fact that RBI did point out that the bank had made recovery efforts, and that's those comments from RBI of course offered regulatory comfort, which is why I think on the RBI day itself we saw shares of IndusInd Bank see a sharp spike, given the fact that the governor took note of the recovery efforts that IndusInd Bank was taking. But aside of that, Nomura also says that promoter stake hike approval by RBI could ease investor concerns going forward. So that's IndusInd Bank for you, 5% up, 50% target upgrade and target hike, and a rating upgrade as well by Nomura on IndusInd Bank. Aside of that, what was in focus was Hindustan Zinc for the second day on the trot. Yesterday, they announced a capex plan of 12,000 crore rupees. The stock was under pressure yesterday, 5% cut, and today as well, another 5% downtick on shares of Hindustan Zinc. There was a big block deal, and Vedanta has confirmed that they have sold stake worth 1.6%. In fact, they have sold 1.6% stake for 3,028 crore rupees, and of course, shares, as I mentioned, were down 5%. Vedanta was also in focus. They have announced an interim dividend of 7 rupees, their first interim dividend for FY26. In fact, Phillip Capital believes that for FY26, the dividend could be somewhere around 35 rupees per share, from Vedanta. So yes, these were all in all some of the stocks, and let's now take stock of what to do with these stocks, these buzzers, so to say. Jay Thakkar, I think finally we've got him through. Jay, can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Nandita. Apologies for joining late. I had some connectivity issues, but then, finally, yes, I've joined. So, yeah, we can go on. Yeah.
Sure. Jay, first of all, another range-bound day, although no reason to complain because we've managed to defend that crucial support level of 24,800, right? Situation is fluid, in terms of what's happening between Iran and Israel. We have a Fed rate cut I beg your pardon, a Fed rate decision that we are awaiting. So in light of that, what would your strategy be for the rest of the week?
Yeah, a couple of things, Nandita. For this week, or for the pending 2 days of trading, when we have this FOMC meet, the outcome will come to know, and what's the impact tomorrow. As you rightly said, what happens with the Israel and Iran, or its neighboring nations, I would say, because generally, it has issues with a couple of countries right now going on, already with Gaza and then with Iran. And then we have the FTSE rebalancing as well on a Friday. So these are the three important things likely to see. Now, what's important also along with that is to watch the options activity, Nandita, because what has happened is Nifty managed to hold on to that 24,800 levels on a closing basis. It didn't go below that, but then managed to bounce back or recover again from the lower levels. Was not even sustaining at the higher levels, because of which I think the range has further got narrow. So the broader range is 24,500 to 25,200. That's 700 points range. But then within that, Nandita, 24,750 to 25,000, that's another 250 points range within this broader range, and index is just trading near the lower end of the range right now. So I think the one who wants to trade the weekly expiry tomorrow, for them, below 24,750 in Nifty will be weak. Till those levels are held, it has got a chance to bounce back to 24,950, 500, 25,000. But then on the higher side, we have seen today very aggressive call writing. So I think that till we don't see a meaningful breakout beyond 25,000, Nandita, the range will be sideways.
Okay, the range, of course, as you mentioned, a broad 700-point range, but we have been stuck in that range for quite some time, and now, of course, all these Middle East tensions and Fed rate decision, a lot of global cues keeping us on the side line as well. But talk about the changes to expiry day. First and foremost, your thoughts on BSE, and tell us how this really changes life, because till now we've had a Thursday expiry for NSE, so that shifts to Tuesday. Would life in general be impacted in a big way for F&O traders?
I don't think so. Yeah, definitely there would be some changes for sure. Why, Nandita? I'll tell you. See, suppose if you are an algo trader, for example, or if you are a trader since long, if you're a quite pro trader. So basically, whenever a strategy which you basically would like to test, say historically, that since the launch of derivatives in India, NSE have been having this expiry on Thursday, right? Since so many years. So, Nandita, what happens is, suppose if I want to backtest a strategy for next, say, past 3, 4, 5 years, and maybe beyond that, I can do that on a monthly series. Okay, on a weekly series, we started, 5 years back, or maybe more than that. If I want to backtest that, I could on every Thursday. I know that I have the historical data. I can backtest strategy. Now, NSE is expiry
Hmm.
shifting to Tuesday from Thursday. So how do I backtest? Okay, so any new strategy, if I have to backtest, Nandita, it would not be possible to base on Tuesday because I don't have that Tuesday expiry data.
Hmm.
I have Thursday expiry data. If I am running an expiry strategy, then if I'm not running an expiry strategy, if I'm running everyday strategy, I don't think life changes for me because each day has been accounted, all 252 trading sessions. And the same happens with Sensex. I mean, but
Hmm.
Sensex has been has in fact changed its expiry date many a times. I mean, in past as well, couple of times, I would say. It was on a Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So, you don't have any which ways a good amount of data on a weekly basis for Sensex, although, but for Nifty you had. So, for those who want to backtest, for them life changes. Otherwise, I think since there are 2 days, any which ways there were 2 days, and now also there are 2 days. It's just the exchange has changed. On Tuesday it is now NSE, and Thursday it is
Hmm.
now BSE. So that doesn't impact anyway
Hmm.
because see, most of the options volume, Nandita, are happening on or happening in index. I mean, as far as my data is
Hmm.
correct, 97 to 90% of the options volume happen in index, 2-3% happens in stocks. Okay, of the overall options. So
Hmm.
any which way stock expiry moving from last Thursday to last Tuesday would not be impacting much, is what I believe. But yes, it can be a bit
Okay.
positive for NSE, maybe because it's shifting to Tuesday, so ahead of BSE, but not much because see, BSE also gained much more market share from 15, 18% to now 37, 38% on an overall basis, even sometimes 40% on an overall basis on an expiry day. So not a
Hmm.
major impact. But yeah, for those who want to backtest, for
Right.
them, it's not going to be that easy now.
Hmm. Got it, got it. But from a BSC point of view, talk about the charts of a BSC. We did see a knee-jerk reaction at start. The low was 2500 for the day, but made a good recovery. The stock has off late been witnessing some bit of selling pressure. Do you think it has bottomed out? Do you think the charts are looking fairly okay any which ways? Because today's low, uh, we came off pretty well from there.
Yeah, the reason for coming back is, that clearly indicates that there's not much into this news to read or, much negative from this angle which could affect BSE. You know, had there
Hmm.
been some other measures taken by the regulators which are, something which can affect BSE, then it's there. But this particular news, I don't think will impact, according to me, that much as far as the volumes of BSE are concerned. Because Nandita, as I said, for a trader, either it's Tuesday or Thursday, how does it matter? Unless you are backtesting a lot and doing it, and that only pro traders are doing it. But any which was for BSC, there was not much of data any which was available in the historically. So I don't think it's much to read into
Hmm.
this news. It's just the date change or the day change. That is it. Is that hence there was a knee-jerk reaction, and because of which it bounced back because once
Hmm.
people get adapted to this change, I mean the volumes would return to normalcy.
Sure. Okay. Point taken. But the other mover today was IndusInd Bank. There was a Nomura upgrade. They've charted out a target price of 1050. The stock has seen a good recovery. If you see the last 3 month charts or something, it's seen a gain of 20-25% or so. And recent commentary from RBI, bode well, and they're saying that legacy issues are getting resolved, etc. So, would you expect the stock to take off in a big way from here as well, and retest levels of 1000 in the coming weeks?
IndusInd Bank definitely had a very good run up in today's session. We are seeing good short covering happening here. Nandita, there are a good amount of shorts that got built up in IndusInd Bank, which are getting covered. The stock has also taken good support at around 800 levels for now for the second or the third time. So, in the near term, till 800 levels are held, there is a good chance that, this stock bounces back to the levels of 920. See, Nandita, this stock has been consolidating within this range of 865 to 800 since, a couple of trading sessions now. So beyond 865, I mean, it would easily bounce back to 920 odd levels. So that those levels can be seen till 800 levels ahead. So I'm short term positive on IndusInd Bank.
Okay, short term positive on IndusInd Bank. I also want to get your thoughts on Hindustan Zinc. 12% kind of a cut in the last two sessions. But the stock has been okay in the last 1 month or so. But any change in patterns, a reversal in trends when it comes to the charts of Hindustan Zinc?
Generally, we have observed, right, that this stock, whenever there is a movement, big movement in silver on the upside, has always benefited, and the stock already priced in that. I think well in advance. If the outlook for silver going forward is going to be negative, then it would definitely affect the Hindustan Zinc as well. But then last 2 days movement, despite silver being up, clearly indicates a short-term trend reversal. I mean, the kind of sell-off which we saw once the stock broke 500 levels on the lower side, Nandita, there has been an acceleration on the downtrend. So I believe that now till 500 levels aren't taken on the upside, the overall trend definitely will remain sideways to negative for Hindustan Zinc. Now the next major support comes to 430 on Zinc. If 430 levels are held, Nandita, I mean, it can just consolidate there. But if those levels are also broken, it might fall to 400 as well.
Okay, so 430, that's a crucial level to watch out for on a Hindustan Zinc. But another mover has been Venue Supermarts, DMart. Now, of course, it's also there in the F&O space. The stock saw a good 4% up move today. The stock actually has been a long time underperformer, right? Of course, there has been news flow around this stock, which is why the stock saw such a good up move today. It has forayed into UP with a store opening in Agra, and this is the first foray that the company has made in a new state since 2017. So that got the stock to move a bit. But Venue at 4,220, what would you do with it? Would you take a bet? Is there more upside? Because it hasn't seen 5,000 levels in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been consolidating. I mean, last you saw 5,000 was somewhere around in September 24 from when, the Nifty topped out and started to fall. Since then, the stock has not seen those levels. You're right, Nidhi. And it's been consolidating with this band of 5,500 to probably, 3,000. I mean, that's a very wide range, right? 5,500 to 3,000 since now a couple of years. I mean, it topped in somewhere in 21 and now it's already 25. So it's like almost 4 years that this stock has not delivered that kind of significant returns, which it delivered earlier, and anticipation of the same, people had invested in this. But then I think it has reversed quite well from the lower end of the range, and it's been inching towards the upper end of the range. So Nandita, I think yes, 5,000 levels can be seen from here on. I think till 3,700 levels on the low side are held. And since its FNO entry, I think now the stock has started to witness long build-up as well. So from both technical and derivative point of view, the short-term trends seems to be positive. I think it's heading towards 5,000 to 5,200. 37, 37.50 remains a crucial short-term support.
Got it. One more stock to go before I come to your recommendations. Wockhardt, saw high trading volumes, but it came off sharply from the day's high. And if you look at the stock, the movement over the last 1 month, quite a phenomenal move, 30%. But any trigger that saw the stock come off quite significantly? Because I think at one point in time it was up 7% or so during the day.
I mean, it's a non-FNO stock, so you just have to take a view technically. I mean, I look at a lot of derivatives as well, and to form a view just technically, then all I can say is that the stock has already reached to its all-time high levels, and it almost like the all-time high levels were nearly around 2,000, and it has reached to 1,730. So you don't have much of the upside pending. I mean, or else you can say that you are near to the resistance levels. We have seen few of the pharma names or even the large cap, those who are performing quite well, struggling right now or consolidating. And there is this Trump tariff likely on the pharma, which he
Hmm.
announced. I don't know whether how far it goes. Probably, it might even change. We know that it's quite an uncertainty there in the short term. So taking a long position on a
Hmm.
pharma right now from these levels until unless you get a clarity from there is difficult. And technically, too, it's near to its short-term resistance level, short to medium-term resistance level. So I would like to avoid as of now. And those who are already having it can book some partial profits and trail for the remaining to around the levels of say 1600.
Okay, got it. Avoid, basically, that's the call. And anything to do with OMCs, how would you trade into that? Because crude is extremely volatile, right? I mean, one day it's up to
Yeah.
$78, $77. Now it's back below 76. I mean, of course, the situation is unfolding, and crude, of course, reacting to that as well. So, how should one approach OMCs?
Yes, it's a very difficult scenario right now, and to make that guess or a call would also be very difficult, Nandita, honestly, is because the volatility. I mean, see, first of all, I would, as a disclaimer, say that we had a buy recommendation on crude. We had a target of 63.50, and we had come out with a report a day before, the crude had that 10-12% kind of a jump in anticipation that, if this war basically escalates, then it could definitely have a positive impact on the crude, and because of which the crude oil prices are likely to go up. And with that thought, we had come out with a report, and our target has also got achieved there, and which helped the oil marketing companies basically, because see, what happens is basically their margins are improved, right? But this volatility in
Hmm.
the crude oil prices would not help us to have a clear view on the OMCs at present. So I would say that it's in a no trade zone until unless you get volatility getting cooled off in crude oil prices. I mean, it's
Hmm.
very difficult, and this kind of volatility is difficult to hedge as well, Nandita. I mean, 10% up, 8%
Yeah,
down.
that's
It's
true.
crazy move there. So I think one can avoid these kind
Hmm.
of sectors or names as of now.
So no trade zone. That's where OMCs are at the current juncture. But before I let you go, Jay, any stock recommendations for the rest of the week, or maybe with 1 to 2 week perspective?
Sure, Nadir. I mean, likewise, if you see, then most of the stocks or the sector itself is in a no trade zone. I mean, that is what we discussed, right? I mean, Nifty has been trading within this band since long, and Bank Nifty has been trading within this band since two months now. I mean, 23rd April is when Bank Nifty had earlier peaked out, and then just removed the high during the RBI monetary policy, the kind of bazooka, the bonanza, whatever we say, the governor managed to give, and
Hmm.
we saw that bounce coming in of new lifetime high, but then could not sustain because of the geopolitical tensions back into the range. So overall market itself has got quite range bound and in a no trade zone sort of thing. But then Nifty IT has been outperforming Nandita in this scenario. If you see, even since last couple of months, if you see, Nifty IT has been outperforming Nifty Bank. So both have ran up. But then relatively it has outperformed. And if you see the mid cap IT names like KPIT, Tech, or maybe Cyient, these are the names which are looking positive. I mean, it's trading around the levels of 1357. I'm talking about Cyan. With a stop loss of 1300, one can go long on this. In anticipation that this stock can further move till 1420, 1450 levels, because there is strength out here. If you see Tata Alexa, there is no strength out there. At the same time, but then KPIT and Cyient has
Hmm.
good strength, and overall IT has been, being a defensive sector, has been trending higher right now. So KPIT Tech can also move to the levels of 1500 on the lower side. 1375 seems to be a good support. So my buy recommendation would be on these two stocks. Along with that, I would also say that Indus Tower. I mean, this stock has seen good amount of long liquidation, because of which the OI has come to quite 2 years low sort of a thing, and it's been consolidating within a symmetrical triangular pattern. So Indus Tower basically is also likely to inch towards 410, 420 levels on the upside. 380 seems to be a very crucial support for Indus Tower. And two-wheeler names like TVS Motor and Eicher Motor, irrespective of the market move, if you see, these two have been outperformers in overall auto pack. So I would
Hmm.
say, apart from these three stocks, TVS Motors is likely to provide a breakout on the of this range on the upside. Positionally, I think 2850, 2900 are the levels to watch out for TVS Motors going forward. And Eicher Motors too seems to be one of the outperforming in the auto pack. And this may inch towards the 5600 to 5700 going forward. On the lower side, I believe 50 to 50, 50 to 75 is a very critical support. So these are the couple of stocks, despite this, range bound trading session, or maybe, range bound kind of a trend right now in the overall market. These are the couple of stocks which I think are likely to trend higher.
Sure, quite a few picks or recommendations you've given to our viewers to work with, Jay. With that, would like to thank you for taking out time and joining in this afternoon. Of course, it has been a
Thank
fairly
you.
ranged session, over the last few days, of course, because of the fluid situation when it comes to the conflict between Israel and Iran and keeping traders wary as well. Always a pleasure, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Look forward
Nandita.
to
Pleasure.
speaking again sometime soon. Thank you. Well, with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Closing Bell. Nothing to complain really. We did manage to defend that 24,800 mark. Tonight is the all important Fed rate decision, but it's a commentary that will, really, be on investors' radar, because we will be watching out for the forward guidance when it comes to rate cuts. So yes, watch out for that. 11:30 is when the decision comes out. Stay tuned to Moneycontrol. We will be getting you live coverage of the Chairman Jerome Powell's conference as well. So you can catch that on Moneycontrol as well. But with that completely timed out, thank you for watching. Stay tuned and have a great evening.